Good morning. This is Kelsey from Kelsey Reads Things at Anna Porter Public Library in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And I'm here on this beautiful Friday morning to finally discuss with you A Court of Mist and Fury, the second installment in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas. Now I'm going to do a very quick recap of book one for you, just so we have a little bit of idea of what is going to take place in this next installment based on what was discussed in the earlier installment. As you know, if you've read or at least watched my video on book one is about a young female huntress named Feyre who is starving and who ends up killing a wolf whom she doesn't realize is actually a fairy. And because of that, she is forced to move from her home to stay in the spring court of Prythian with the High Lord Tamlin of Spring. And during the course of the months that she stays with him, she and Tamlin slowly start to fall in love. And we learn later on that that love is the cure for a curse, a blight that is on the lands of basically the entirety of Prythian, but especially on Tamlin himself and other High Lords. Their powers have been condensed and are in control of a evil woman known by Amarantha, who is also a fairy, a very powerful fairy, and she despises humans. Feyre is eventually sent back to the human world by Tamlin in order to protect her, as Amarantha is basically about to learn that she exists. And the curse only lasts, it was supposed to be 7 times 7 years, so it's been almost the time. In the place of book one, the curse is about to be done with. So Tamlin gets captured, and Feyre leaves the human world again to go on a quest to save him, and basically save the rest of Prythian. And after she's saved everyone, she's gone through these very traumatizing, difficult trials for Amarantha to win Tamlin's hand, and also to save all the fairies of Prythian. So when we meet with her again in the second book, A Court of Mist and Fury, Feyre is more or less broken. She has been through some very traumatic experiences in terms of saving Tamlin. She was under that mountain for 3 months, and she was barely fed, she was tortured, she had to go through 3 very difficult, terrifying trials. She's just been through a lot, and she even ended up having to murder innocent fairies, because apparently Amarantha thinks that because Feyre killed a wolf, that was a fairy, that she hates all fairies. And to be fair, in the beginning of the book, Feyre did. But most humans did, because fairies equaled evil. And now she's in a different place because she herself is now Fae. And she is experiencing a lot of side effects from that. PTSD, anxiety, depression, a lot of, understandable symptoms from the trauma that she was put through in book one. So now in book two, basically the theme of it is about Feyre and how she goes from being a weak human, who wasn't necessarily weak, she had her own strengths of course, but she was a human, to a incredible, powerful Fae being, and how to basically grapple with her whole existence changing, how to push herself through the trauma that she's been through, and basically determine not only where her loyalties lie and who she wants to be as a person, but also where she belongs in Prythian. She is something new. She has been completely created by all of the powers from all the other High Lords. They were all under the mountain together in book one. They were all captured by Amarantha, and they all used their powers to bring her back as a thank you for saving the world and saving them and returning their powers to them because she broke Amarantha's curse. And so in this great, beautiful, my favorite installment of the series, Feyre really learns not only how to become herself and who she's meant to be, she becomes strong in so many different other ways, And that's all I'm gonna say really about book two, because there's so much that happens and so many beautiful friendships, new characters that were introduced, and if I say too much, it just will ruin the experience for you. So that's all I'm gonna say in terms of like what occurs and the themes of book two. Now I'm going to discuss a few more technical specifics about the book and things that I liked in general, including the pacing. The pacing was, in my opinion, near perfection, especially for the storyline and where the story was progressing. The characters progressed and the relationships to each other, as well as the plot at the same time. I thought that was masterfully done. It was almost like a magical labyrinth of a story, so I absolutely loved and appreciated that from Sarah and her talent to be able not only to progress characters and their relationships to each other, as well as characters themselves and the storyline all at once. Just perfectly done. The plot was also, I know I mentioned it before, but it was just amazing. It was one of the best plots in a story that I have ever read. The world building alone was already very interesting and elaborate in book one, but once you get to book two, you just experience so much more of Prithian and what it has to offer outside of the Spring Court and Under the Mountain. There was literally like a good place and a bad place in book one, and in book two you get to explore with Feyre the other areas of Prithian, so that was really cool to see, and it made me love this world, this fantasy world, just that much more. As for the characters, there were new characters introduced, and you will absolutely love them. They were amazing. I loved everything about them. I thought that they were just awesome, just incredible, god tier. I say that with full confidence. I'm not even exaggerating how I feel about the characters, and not even just new ones, but also the ones that we already are familiar with, including Feyre. She just grew so much as a person and as a main character in this story. Okay. Feyre was already one of my favorite protagonists, but she really blew me out of the water in this installment, truly. Her growth and how she recovered from her trauma and the events from book one was just exceptional, and something that I'd really, she's someone I look up to whenever I'm feeling low or slightly depressed or concerned about my own progression as a human being. I look to Feyre and say, you know what, if Feyre can pull herself out of the mud and the dark and the terror that she went through, I can get through today. And something else I loved about Feyre specifically is not only her personal strength, but also her kindness and compassion for people around her. She has exhibited that facet of her personality in book one, but especially in book two. She goes above and beyond multiple times to put other people before herself, and it's just, but also without disregarding herself too. There are different areas where she's, maybe not weak is a good word, but she is more, timid or uncertain in certain areas of the book, but of course she is. She just went through a very traumatic experience and is experiencing PTSD as we speak. In fact, a few of the characters are, and how they each deal with this is very interesting, and I thought it was extremely realistic. Sarah J. Maas is very good at writing characters in general, but to be able to tackle such a convoluted topic such as PTSD, I just thought she did an incredible job and obviously did her research. So excellent, Sarah J. Maas. Thank you for that. And with all that being said, I give this beautiful installment a 5-star rating. Some of the themes that you should know of is overcoming your circumstances and, most importantly, your demons. Adventure, romance, strength in a physical and mental capacity. There was a lot of humor and just a lot of growth in general, not only from characters themselves, but how they grow together and how they become a commendable, amazing unit. So thank you, Sarah, for this incredible, beautiful book. It's one of my favorites I have ever read, and being a librarian, I've read a lot of books. So thank you again, Sarah. This was a beautiful installment. In the coming weeks, I will also be doing a book review of A Court of Wings and Ruin. Honestly, these two tie for my absolute favorites in the series pretty often. Sometimes when I'm re-listening / rereading The Court of Mist and Fury, it's my absolute favorite, and then I start the third one, A Court of Wings and Ruin, and then it's my absolute favorite. So either way, these are both incredible installments to this amazing series, and I very much look forward to discussing the third book with you in the future. Thank you for watching my book review today, and I really appreciate all the support. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment, send me an email, get in touch with me. Our library is Anna Porter Public Library in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. You can find us on Instagram as well as Facebook. Thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful Friday morning.